Welcome to the Roadcast, a podcast by EAPA. I'm Carsten Karcher, your host and the Secretary General of EAPA, the European Asphalt Pavement Association. Today I'm happy to be joined by the current president of EAPA, Ralf Pomp, a passionate leader in the asphalt sector. Welcome to the Roadcast, Ralf.
Thank you, Carsten. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So the idea is to talk a little bit about your background, about your career so far, about the company you are CEO of, to start this a little bit. So what is the company, your family business about?
I'm leading a company which is family owned in the third generation, which was founded by my grandfather in 1934. Basically as a transport company. And this is what is the main difference between our company and most of the asphalt companies, at least in Germany. Many of those come from paving troops who have after some work founded an asphalt mixing plant to get their need of asphalt. In our company, it was the other way around. We had the transport business from 1934 to the 60s of the last century, and then when the asphalt technique came upon and the paving of roads was not any longer made by bricks, which was being transported before, my grandfather bought an asphalt mixing plant, which we operate today in the third generation. With the oil crisis in the 70s, we had a big problem because we only made asphalt in that time. And we depended much on the products coming from oil, which were the ingredients of asphalt and were very necessary for our heating and for the lorries. So we diversified afterwards, and the main issue in our company is that we have this big dependence on weather conditions. So there are high season times when we need all our men and staff and machinery to produce the asphalt which is needed for the road pavement. But there are also times where we have to do other things to be able to have work for our people, and you can't produce asphalt or concrete, what we do too, on stock. You have to do it in time. So we are always looking for tasks to operate in times which we can produce on stock. And this is how our company differs from many other asphalt companies, because we do the crushing of our aggregates in our own quarry. We do the whole maintenance of the machinery and the lorries in our own company. And we do many things around the core business of asphalt just to be able to have all these 120 people working for our company economically.
Yeah, that's an impressive company. I've been there. I've visited you several times on this vast area where you have all these production facilities, your own quarry, and a lot of trucks to transport all these materials. So you're a typical example of a small and medium-sized enterprise, an SME in Germany, I would say. And the interesting thing is that you produce several construction materials, so from aggregates over concrete to asphalt. And the reason why you're here is the asphalt, of course, today. And I think you have also a special philosophy in your company. So this is this family-owned company with a special spirit, so that everyone counts in this company. So can you tell us a little bit more about this?
As you know, my family is very attached to motorsports, and we try to copy the things which are common in motorsports even into our business, which means that any part of our team, we call it like that, has the same responsibility, even if he is a mechanic or lorry driver or machine operator or the CEO. They all work together as a good team, and then they might have the success and the responsibility they share together, and they have the team spirit, which makes them at the end of the day successful.
So everybody is equally important in the whole team.
That's it. That's it.
Very great. Very
We
nice.
have 120
philosophy.
people working for us, and even the ladies who clean our offices have their share of the success at the end of the day.
I like this philosophy. Very nice. Very nice. And the structure of your company allows you also to talk about several stages that we have in, let's say, the road construction as such. So starting from the raw materials to the design of the materials, especially the asphalt mix design, the mixing of the asphalt in the asphalt mixing plants, the transport of asphalt, the paving compaction on site, which is not your business, the quality control, which is again your business, and the maintenance. So this is the whole value chain of creating a road.
And very important, the recycling of RAP, of already milled asphalt, which has had a time on the road and which we are able to reuse in new mix designs. And with this is very, important for our company, because we have a big share, a big percentage of this in our company, milled and screened old asphalt to put in our new asphalt mix designs.
Yeah, that's a good starting point, because I wanted to ask you about the design and the mix, the asphalt mix, these processes. Maybe you can give us a little bit more insights about this. So I know you have a laboratory where you do all this mix design and the properties of the material, of the asphalt material, but also you produce it. You have several asphalt mixing plants in your area. So maybe you can give us some more insights. And don't forget to talk about reuse asphalt, of course.
That's it. I wanted to highlight this because in the next years, due to the discussion of CO2 and sustainability, the reuse of asphalt will be a very, very big advantage for our asphalt industry. This is why I wanted to highlight that. As you said, we have our own laboratory, which I always mentioned is the brain of our company, because there we get the good ideas and find out which will be the way to make money by improving our mix designs tomorrow. We do there the quality management, because we have the whole stages from the quarry to crushing the stones, to screening the stones, to crushing and screening the RAP, the milled asphalt coming back from the first stage of their life. Then we put it together on a big stock. We have the luxury of having a big terrain where we can stock up to 400,000 or 500,000 tons of raw materials. Our system is to have any raw material in big volumes. Is it bitumen? Is it the aggregates? Is it the filler? Or in the concrete side, also the cement? So that we can fill up those stocks in low season times to have work for the lorries, which we can do on stock and be able to produce from that stock in high season times without the need to fill it up any day. You can compare it with a car with a very big tank, so that you don't need to refuel it so often, and you can refuel it when there is a good chance, also concerning buying for the cheapest price. So this is also very important for the economical part of our company.
What has changed in the last 10 years for the production of asphalt mixtures and the process that you just mentioned, starting from the aggregates, cover it with bitumen, producing the asphalt? Is there anything that you would especially highlight? What was a challenge and what was crucial for the industry? We will look to the future later, but what the last 10 years, what kind of development did the asphalt industry, especially in your company, do?
You have to decide to divide up between the general development of the last 10 years, where especially the aspects of sustainability, of CO2 reduction, of optimizing our product to a very long period of use was the biggest challenge. But then came the big things, the pandemic and the war, where the prices of energy and also of bitumen coming from oil exploded, which reminded me very much of the time when I was a young boy and my father was operating our company together with his brother-in-law, where also in the oil crisis, those explosion of prices was a very, very big issue. And we managed to do that in that time only because we had those facilities on our own where we could divide up our our people to different jobs. At the end of the day, we managed it. But the second aspect was that due to the exploding prices, the volume of asphalt was reduced because the budget of the road authorities stayed the same in the best case. So we also had to deal with a reduced volume of work, of tonnage, which gave us at the end of the day the strategy to divide up into concrete recycling and everything you saw in our company, what we do today. The last 3 years were very, very challenging because we had big issues coming from pandemic and from the war. And the main issue for the next years will also be to attract young workforce into our business, to replace those people who sometimes work in the second and third generation from a family for many, many years. And when they retire, it's not easy to find someone who is linked to our business as we are being there for a long time. It's all about passion. It's always the same. You need people who do their job with passion, who like what they do. And there we are back to motorsports. There it's also the same. The most important thing is motivation and passion. And to plant that passion into young people is one of my big issues. Why I also work for example, the DAV in Germany or the EAPA on the European level.
Yes, you hear that everywhere, that it is difficult to get young workers, new workers addicted to our industry. How do you think we can overcome this? Is there a strategy to become more attractive for workers in our industry?
I think the first thing what we have to do is to work on our image, which for a long period was not the case because we had the orders of the road authorities and we did not have to make advertisement like other branches have to do. So this is why most people don't see what we do. They only see the people working maybe at night on the highway job sites, which is not attractive to them. And most people think that we only work with rubber shoes and with a shovel in our hand, but this is not the case. We offer many very interesting jobs. We have specialists out there working sometimes by hand, but most times with machines. And I think we have to give that information to the society that we build the roads for the society and not to produce traffic jams. We work there to reduce the number of traffic jams. And I think it's a completely new strategy that we have to do to talk and to show to the people what we are doing in our business. And by that way, change our image. And also by that way, maybe give the people the idea that it's possible to do an apprenticeship or do a study on a university to be part of our industry in future. My main issue for my company is to find those next generation of asphalt people inside our asphalt family. And I like the word family very much because it's a relatively small circle of people operating this industry all over Europe. We see them on our coming togethers that we frequently have. And most of them, we know each other, and it's a very familiar kind of working together. And I think this is also something that we should transport and give the information to the people outside our industry, that we have fun working together, that the motivation is making good money, but also have an attractive job and have fun in our work.
Yeah, we have a lot of attractive jobs in this value chain to pave a road. It's not only about the ones that are doing the job on the job site themselves, the paver drivers and so on, but we also have the engineers, we have the people in the laboratory, and there's a lot of innovation going on in the industry, and we have this so-called Asphalt 4.0 approach where we show the digitalization and the innovation in the industry. So it's there, and we have to show people that it's a modern and attractive industry.
And we have to tell the people that the roads don't fall from the skies, that there has to be someone who plans the road, who finances the road. It's all about also financing, about budgets. There is someone who has to build the road and also to maintain the road so that it has a long life cycle. And by the way, also it's sustainable and saves CO2, because as longer the road lasts, you divide up the emissions and the energy on a longer period of use. And we have to tell this to the people.
So the public perception can be changed by communication then?
Yes. I think this is the main issue. We should build up communication. This is why we're here today. And we should tell to the people our story and the things that we do. And I see frequently when someone visits my company, they come into our company and they say, "Wow, I did not expect that. I did not expect this big part of machinery. I did not expect that high level of professional work. And I did also not expect how interesting it is." I always say my company is a big playground. This is a man's playground sometimes. We also have women. We should talk about that too.
Yeah, we will do.
Women are sadly underrepresented in our companies, which we should change. But at the end of the day, most of the people coming into my company, they say, "Wow, we did not expect that," because we don't show it. So we have to show it by communication.
Is there anything that comes particularly to your mind, what you think makes the industry much more interesting in the future? So new products, new whatever. Is there anything that comes to your mind?
The asphalt industry, as most parts of construction industry, do things as they have been done based on experience for a long time. So we are not as innovative, or we have not been so innovative as other branches, for example, the car people are. They have to develop every 5 or 10 years the next generation of cars, which was not the case in asphalt production in the last years. But as many things will change, as we know that, for example, oil is not endless available, we are forced to change the way how we produce asphalt. And there is a political decision being made to go way to zero, which also applies to our industry. We will have to heat the asphalt in another way in future. We have to be more sustainable. We will use sustainable energies, and we maybe also will replace the new binder partly by the wrap, by the asphalt, which has been used and will be reused for the second, third, or fourth time. But also we will develop, and we are trained to do so, to develop additives, rejuvenators, to make that old asphalt more suitable for the use of the future. We know that the rate of traffic, the number of lorries and of cars on the road will still increase, because we also know that roads are the most important infrastructure for transportation of people and goods, and this will still exceed in the next years. So there is a big challenge to face all the needs that a road will have to deal with the next years, and also by all the electronic devices which will take place in our traffic. The road will not only be the black surface where we ride on, it will be maybe the data highway, it will be maybe the kind of photovoltaic energy collector, and there are many, many ideas about the function of the road of the future, not only as the surface to ride on, but as the infrastructure for the future mobility, which maybe mainly will be still individual. So there are big, big challenges what our industry is facing, and we need people, not only engineers paving roads or making mixed designs, but also people coming from digitalization, people coming from the car industries. They have the data which maybe are interesting for operating our road net. We need people coming from informatics. We have people coming from many different branches connecting with our civil engineers to pave that road of the future. So this is very interesting, and this is not rocket science, but not far away from that.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for these insights. Yes, though the asphalt industry is not only working in itself or working with itself. There's a lot of other industries joining us to become modern, more modern,
Yes.
to innovate and to prepare the road for the future. And roads will still be needed. whenever you look at the freight data and when you ever look at the personal travel for the future, roads will still be needed. And if it's not the road as such, it's a way. A lot of ways and a lot of paths and a lot of pavements go to places where you don't need a car on it, but you still need asphalt for it.
The most important problem of asphalt is that it's so long lasting, so that many people of the young generation didn't even see that the road they use every day has been paved because it was there before they were born. So they think it's natural given, but it's not.
It
has to be maintained.
It has to be maintained, of course. It has to be built properly, it has to be maintained to keep it in such a condition as we see it every day and it is used every day.
That's it.
When I look at the road in front of my house, I'm absolutely sure it's 80 years old. But it's always been there and no one has ever really touched it. So it's really a long service life. You mentioned it before, you were talking about cars, 10, 15 years. Think about a mobile phone, 3 or 4 years. So the cycle to renew it and to bring innovation in is much, much smaller than for a road that lasts for at least 20, 30 or even 80 years.
And as we know by science today, if you do a good maintenance of the road, you reduce the rolling resistance, and by that way you also save energy and at the end of the day CO2 emissions. We had those very interesting publications where they said if you put 1 million euros in maintenance of the road, you save about 40 millions of CO2 emissions by that better road, which gives reduced rolling resistance. And this is what we have to tell to the people. Because we see if there has to be reduced budgets because there is a lack of money in the political system, the first thing where they cut off money is road maintenance. But this is a bad investment because if you don't do proper maintenance in time, it will be much more expensive repairing the road after it has been destroyed completely due to bad maintenance. But this is what the people don't know and don't see because we don't tell it to them. And this is our task. We have to give that information to the taxpayers at the end of the day because it's their property. The roads are public property.
Yeah, they are the road owners, so to say. The figures you just mentioned come from the Danish Road Authority because they did these investigations and showed what the contribution to the society is if you put 1 million euros in a proper road maintenance, a proper surface with low rolling resistance, and what is the social benefit for the Danes in this case.
And it's our job to transport that information which has been found out in Denmark to the other European countries. And this is the classic case of European association. There is a national association who has made that scientific information, and it's the European Asphalt Pavement Association to transport it so that this information can be used in the other countries.
Exactly. And you have just recently, not 1 year ago, let's say it, elected to be the president of this association. So what was your motivation to become president of the European Asphalt Pavement Association?
As first, I have to say that I'm very proud, and it's an honor to me to represent the European asphalt world and to be the head of a family of people working good together. My motivation was to change some things. I'm in the business for about 37 years. I grew up in that world. And I see that some things have to change. And as you see, I'm flexible and I'm very straight. And I'm not a politician. And my aim is to, as first, change the image of the asphalt industry and to make the people aware of what we do for society. And on the second side, to transport the information also from other branches into the asphalt industry and backwards from the asphalt industry into other branches to do good lobby work at the end of the day. I represent our asphalt family also outwards. And this was my motivation to do that.
Yeah, I can feel it in my everyday work, being the Secretary General of EAPA, which is great. Maybe you'd like to tell us a little bit more about your not everyday work, because you're not working every day for EAPA, because you're not a staff member of EAPA, but your function being the elected chairman of the board of the association. So what is your responsibilities? What's your functions in EAPA?
There are many come together of working groups, which I join sometimes. I go to association meetings where I represent EAPA as well on the European level, as well on national meetings, for example, with the DAV in Germany, or we were in Slovenia last autumn, where I represent at the end of the day the European part towards the national associations. And it's also a little bit of keeping things running and people working in the right way, making decisions together with a very well organized team of staff, people working mainly for this association, together with people which work on a voluntary level. These volunteers, they do this beside their normal job, as I do too. And this mixture to organize all of that and to keep things running, this is one of the purposes what I do together with you as the profile at the other end of the table. And I like that very much, the way we managed to do this in this team. I think we are today in a very good situation of highly motivated people as well in the staff of the EAPA, as well to at the volunteers who are working in the different meetings where we divide up the tasks that we have to fulfill.
Do you have an agenda as EAPA president? Is there anything you would like to achieve in your at least 2 years times of presidency?
I'm not such a man of plans which I write up. I'm very spontaneous, but I have some aims which I want to achieve. One of those is, as I said, to try to change the image, to give that information to the public by sending outwards our Asphalt family. The second thing is, you know, that I'm very interested in founding Women of Asphalt of Europe. When we visited together the North American annual meeting of the North American Asphalt Association, we were in contact with the Women of Asphalt of America, which is a big organization of women with the aim to open our asphalt world towards 50% of the possible future generation of asphalt workers on any level. On one side towards the companies, on the other side towards the young women who maybe don't know that we offer these kind of interesting jobs, and to open our industry towards them and also to make them curious to work maybe in our industry. And one of my big aims is also to maybe give the first step to found that Women of Asphalt Europe, to at the end of the day open our asphalt world to maybe future female workers in our companies.
That would be great. That's a very nice approach, and we can say we are already working on it heavily inside the team to make that happen. The young generation, the women of asphalt, that's something you want to support heavily in the industry. And also you talked about communication, and we can also already see that in the EAPA, that we have increased the staff in communication to be more communicative. So this also already happened during your presidency. So that's a good direction, I would say. We are coming slowly to the end of this episode. I'd like to know from you, what would you say to national associations that are not currently member of EAPA? What are they missing? Is there anything special? Of course, there are a lot of specialties. I'm the Secretary General, I have to say that, and I know it better, of course. So is there anything that you as a president would like to say to someone to an association which is not member of EAPA? What are they missing?
There are many developments, especially concerning sustainability, the CO2 question, the way the asphalt industry will be forced to transform in the next years, and you don't have to invent the wheel in any country itself. So many developments that are made in one country can be copied into the other. For example, if we see in the Nordic countries, they already do bidding for road jobs by the road authorities, also based on a shadow price where the amount of CO2 which is attached to that job is part of the bidding process. And it's much easier if we build up those systems and learn from each other to build those really necessary new developments, not only in one country itself, but maybe by copying it from one country to the other. And if there are countries, we had an interesting conversation with a representative of the Switzerland Asphalt Association. They were trained to build up such a system, and we offered them the possibility to use the already made and found out information how we can do that, and they were very interested in. So what I would say to any other foreign association which is not part of the EAPA, you miss a big pool of information which you can use for free, and you get the last information for free like a consumer does. And this is what EAPA offers to you, beside the possibility to be part of those meetings and to work with these meeting groups and to come into and give your information into those, so that also others can learn from you. So this is a give and take.
Yeah, this is the reason why associations exist, an exchange of knowledge. And you can be sure if someone in Europe has a challenge or a problem, someone else at the other part of Europe, maybe at the other end of Europe, has already solved it or has taken care of it. And if this is not the case, we will solve it all together.
And it's not only Europe. And
yeah,
another part of the EAPA is to take part of meetings all over the world. We were together in Florida in January, where we took part of this North American annual meeting, and we came back with additional information. We learned a lot in this 4 or 5 days that we were there, and this is also part of transport of information and of learning from each other, not only on the European but on the worldwide level. In Budapest, we will have a GAPA meeting, the Global Asphalt Pavement Association, and there will be people from South Africa, from Japan, from all over the world coming together with the same plan to exchange information, because the issues are mostly the same all over the world.
Dear Ralf, we received many insights, and it was very interesting to talk to you. I especially like your engagement and your passion for the industry, which is really a great asset for us. So I think it's time to close the episode now. Dear listeners, check out the description and show notes to find relevant links and additional information from this episode. Make sure you follow us on social media and subscribe to the EAPA newsletter. Stay curious and keep paving the way for a brighter future, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you again, Ralf.
You're welcome.
And all the best for you and all the others.
Thank you.